Hey guys, it's M. Chahai Moon, and today we're here to talk about another great book that I just got done reading. I actually have to backtrack and read it again because I think I skipped a couple chapters. That's sometimes the problem with the books that I read is that they might go months without an update, and then by the time they get an update, it's sometimes so they've added so many chapters that I've literally had to go back and reread it, either the whole book or partially of it. So today we're here to talk about Walk on Water. Yes, that is the title of the book. It's a very interesting book because it touches upon a lot of different things of this guy who owes a lot of money. They go in between. It kind of has almost like that mob kind of feel, like he owes a lot of money because he's trying to help out his family or, you know, people he considered to be his family. And what winds up happening is he has this one job as a bodyguard or security, I should say. But then he didn't answer an ad, but he was in a bar with a couple of his friends, and they were saying how adult filmmakers make a lot of money, and that the men make a lot of money, and that the gay ones make more. And he was overhearing this. You know, he wasn't part of the conversation. He was just hearing these two guys, or these two straight guys, talking about this. It was one or the other. I can't quite remember. But he decides, and he's straight, but he decides because he's so desperate for money, he decides to put out an application for this place. And they're interested. They said, yeah, send us a headshot and then send us this. So he does, and he comes up with an alias. He goes to the place for the interview. And what's interesting is when they're setting up this interview with him, they're setting it up as if they're going to make it into one of their films, because they have the camera there. They've got him sitting on the couch, and the director starts, interviewing him. And when he made a mistake, he would say cut, and he's like, no, say it like this or stretch it. So it was very interesting. And then what made it even more interesting is that, they start him off slow with certain things. I can't go into detail because of YouTube's algorithm. But he starts going off with simple, basic stuff, and then they offer him a little more money to be performing with a partner, and he thinks about it and he says okay, and then they offer him more money to be a bottom, and he thought about that and he took it. And slowly, it starts off with, I'm doing this just for the money, but then he kind of starts slowly getting involved with the director, because there was an incident where the director had set him up with another guy, and the guy didn't show up. They were already pressed for time because they had to catch a flight to, I think it was England, to do some filming in there. So they were already pressed for time. So the director basically said, or the boss basically said, which is funny because his name is McQueen, says, okay, then I'll do it. I'll be in the film. Which apparently he hasn't been in one of his own films in a long time. So this guy, Ed, Eddie is his alias. So his first time is being with the boss. And I'm like, ooh, that's not going to go good. And it was a real touch and go on a lot of things. And it got to the point where he himself was debating on him, Ed as himself, of who he was and what he was interested in and whether he was gay or not. Ooh, excuse me. And it was very interesting to see this and to read this, that he had gotten to that point of his life. Now, I am so sorry. That's Hocus. Hocus, no, I'm recording. I'm sorry. Sometimes Hocus feels that she can just get in the middle of a recording with nobody's permission but her own. Because, you know, that's Hocus. Excuse me 1 minute. I'm looking for something. But what I found interesting about this book was not the fact that they were talking about, you know, the adult filming industry. It was more or less this guy who was straight, who got into this dark world, you know. It's not something that everybody thinks about. It's not a job that everybody goes to. And it's certainly not something that, even if you were desperate, that if you had, what's that word I'm looking for? I can't think of it right now. But basically, they liked him because they said that he was, you know, he was perfect. He had a perfect body. He had perfect build. He was, they just liked how he looked. And yeah, he was making money. And of course, the person who he's in debt to, which for some odd reason reminds me of William. I don't know why. Maybe it's because of how he walks and talks. He reminds me of William. But he starts getting suspicious of how he came into money. And Ed tries to cover it up and saying, well, I met a rich old woman. And the other guy didn't buy that. He said, oh, don't you mean a man? You know, he was putting shit together real quick. And it was interesting. At times, I felt that Ed was lying to himself of who he was. Because he had been single for a long time. He hadn't been dating anybody for a long time. So I think there were lots of times in its own scene where he was really arguing with himself. And oh, before I forget, guys, Bloodlink is still going on. There are new chapters, and there is a lot going on because the little child that our Lycan and Vampire had grew up to be a handsome young man, and now he's dating a Lycan. So it's getting interesting. But let's get back to Walk on Water. It's a real touch and go kind of yaoi. There are a lot of talking, not too much of the juicy. She just thinks she's all part of this. Not too much of the juicy scenes unless they're filming, which I'm just going to say this. One of the editors, I really like him. He's so funny. He's so lovable. He's a little chunky guy, but oh my God, he is a trip. He's just adorable. He always is asking, oh, can I keep the raw footage? Can I keep it? You know, because what they do is they film a whole bunch of stuff, but then they edit it and they shorten it. But he always wants to keep the raw footage. And he just has some really great scenes. He's such a lovable guy. He's so... I just love him. Every time I read the book and he comes up, I just start giggling. He's just too funny. But... McQueen is a very interesting character too, because apparently I don't really want to say too much in the book. I really want you guys to read it, and yes, I am going to leave a link in the description so you guys can go and read it and come up with your own conclusions. Right now they have over 51 chapters. but I don't know how many pages are in each one of those chapters. But I also just want to give a shout out to you guys, because you guys may not know this. I do check my channel every day, and I do see when you guys leave me comments. All of you always get a heart. I give each and every one of you a heart. I'd like to say thank you to all 451 of you. Thank you. I'm not as big as Markiplier. I'm definitely not big like Jacksepticeye, but you know what? I like each and every one of you, and I love you. I really do. I do this just for fun. I do not get paid, and I post as much as what I can. So with that, go check out Walk on Water. If you like it, or whatever your feelings are on the book, please leave comments so other people can see it, and so others can go and read this book and support this website. Anyway, this is Jahia Moondragon, and as always, I will see you in the next anime. Bye-bye!